fucked up.
Looks like we're all good. Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 441 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada, recorded February 3rd, 2025.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Support a small business. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right. And just to be clear, technically the tariffs don't affect the CPP t-shirt,
It's
but
true.
you should still order one.
They currently do not affect the tariffs, and unless you live in the States and you buy one, then it may or it may not. I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
that's it. We'll find out everything you
But
ever wanted to know about tariffs shortly. But first, our favorite segment of the show, what are we drinking? Pierre, what are you drinking?
currently I am drinking a little bit of Jameson, which thankfully is not affected by the tariffs and Pepsi. And then as a backup for the rest of the conversation, I've got some Signal Hill, which is Canadian, delicious 100% on its own, and is not affected by the tariffs. Um, Patriot Challenge, uh, again, still listening to some podcasts, audibles, trying to
Nice.
brighten the horizon. Kind of dabbled in a few podcasts that I'm like, but just willing to open with a or listen to, sorry, with an open mind. Drinking the waters. I had
Anything
to.
good on the podcast front? Like anything that stands out is like, oh yeah, let's.
So a
I
really
mean,
good
aside
one.
from like our podcast and the
Yeah,
other
right.
CPP, but aside from that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
second
No.
place podcast, yeah.
One of my most favorite ones, and he's been putting 2 episodes a week compared to one, is Sean Ryan show. Fantastic one.
Nice.
One of the favorite ones I've listened to so far is he had the person um that just made the new Primal or something.
Yeah,
Primal, I think
yeah,
it's on Netflix. And
yeah.
but he also did the opioid epidemic one, which was I don't even remember the name of the podcast or sorry, the show or whatever. So he had that actual person that made all those things and went after, the whole family about the opioid epidemic or whatever. And I'm like, that is by far one of my favorite shows because I'm like, they go so many squirrel moments. And I'm like, it's just a genuine conversation with the person.
Nice.
Giant supporter of that. And another
Uh,
one that I've really started following is the Julian Dory podcast.
all
Similar
right.
style, long format, 3, 4, 5 hours. Sits down, just has conversations about, hey, where'd you grow up? How they got into things. He's all over the map. He's got people that are thinking about like how the Egyptians built whatever and like lost treasure maps, deep covert CIA operators. He's all over the map with stuff, but I'm like, I do like those long formats where you get a bunch of information.
I,
So
I'm a big fan of the long format as well. Like it just,
yeah,
it, sometimes the short stuff is fine or whatever. Like
yeah.
especially if it's
Like it depends on the
but
information you want
But
out
if
of
it,
it.
if it's an interview with somebody, I want that long format because I want them to
Yeah.
deep dive and then have those little squirrel moments where they like just random stuff, right? Like it's like a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Right. So like Julian Dory is a really good one for that. There's been some that I've completely ignored. Um, Everybody knows Joe Rogan. I've got my
Right.
issues with Joe Rogan. He's got some
Yeah.
fantastic interview people. He's got this, he's got that. But I would 100% say Sean Ryan podcast and Julian Dory are my two
Nice.
go-to. I don't
Yeah.
listen to this one anymore because I'm a panelist for everything, so I don't want
Yeah.
to hear myself talk. But
Well,
and I'm a panelist on the other one that you should listen to, which is the Copy CPP. Um, but that's been a main focus, just trying to stay away from mainstream
nice.
media, or at least,
Well,
I do need to be informed on things, but trying to not
yeah.
follow that,
Yeah.
stupid gravy train. Drinking the waters, been good on that. Getting better with, I said a few episodes ago, trying to be more meal reliant, bringing
Yeah.
lunches. I can not eat till supper all day, every day. Wake up, have a coffee, half a sip of water, and then more coffee, and not think about water until my coffee's done.
It's how you keep your
S-
girlish figure, right?
That's 100%. But yeah, just getting better at, like, hey, doing my due diligence on my days off, just being like, hey, this week, make some rice, make some chicken, make some green beans, and portion it out for a few days of work, and doing my due diligence on that. And I had to play IT person because I purchased a new phone that's still Android based. Well, as you guys know, because I'm the new Fed in the chat. But
Yeah. The
um,
new and the old one. Yeah.
yeah, but it's not a straight up swap. Like, take I didn't buy a new Samsung, so it wasn't like click two buttons and all my data transferred. So I had to play
Yeah.
semi sort of IT and figure out how to get one phone to talk to the other phone by, like, Bluetoothing,
Yeah.
manually download
They've
this app
certainly
that I
made it
can't find.
easier,
Like,
but it's still not just like, yeah, instant, which would be nice.
yeah, and it's a new phone that's a bit better of a processor and everything for myself and Mel play a game online. And but we also looked at it where I'm like, I bought this phone. I was like, technically it's a gaming phone, so I was like, the processor, the screen, the
Right.
stat. We looked at all the stats, and I was like, how much it costs to purchase out unlocked compared to how much it costs to go buy a new Samsung. Even though it was quite a bit of money, I still saved like $1,000, if not more.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah,
New
so
technology is never better.
Ask Uncle
hey,
Ted. Yeah.
until they don't open your mail-in invitations, then they get all upset.
Well,
But yeah, so doing that, did the IT thing, figured out a few things with it, didn't figure it all out, but that's a ongoing process. I tend to do stuff half-assed and then figure it out 6 months later. That's about it for me. What about you, Ian?
Well, after I sorted out my laptop problem, which turns out was Acer, my new laptop, it had a purified voice control and it had an AI noise reduction function.
that was
And the
just
AI,
reducing everything.
and the AI decided that my voice was unacceptable. And so I had to figure out how to turn off my AI noise reduction before I could actually get on the podcast. Sorry about that.
No
And I
worries.
apologize for lateness tonight. So
That's all right. It's
Uh,
not like we care about our listeners or anything.
yeah, but
no.
hold them in high disdain. I know that. So
Yeah. Only
yeah,
the highest of disdain. Yeah.
that's right. Well, second only to the government. But
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
anyway, yeah, as for myself, lots of water. Try to exercise. It's a little tougher when it's cold outside.
Yeah, a
Um,
little bit. Yeah. It kind of
Okay.
sucks just that little
Hold
bit
on.
more. Huh?
yeah, and
Define
so
cold where you live compared to where me and Gavin live.
well, holy shit balls. I gotta say, we got 8 real inches, not internet inches of snow today on the island, and I just got home, so I've had to drive through that. But Vancouver got about 2 inches, which is pretty much Armageddon for them, and it
Yeah.
was about -6 overnight when I landed last night. So
Yeah. Cold enough that you
it
don't want to
was
be
rather
exercising
insane.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I went to the local gym at the hotel I was staying at and just worked out there a little bit. Did a big walk at work there because they have a gym at work, which is kind of nice. So rather than going outside and braving it, I just went for like a 5 mile hike on the treadmill. So did my
Nice.
best hamster impersonation.
Yeah.
And then let's see here, what else has been going on lately? Not much. Actually, I've been trying my best to do a couple educational things online, but yeah, squirrel moments happen, right?
Yeah. It
The
happens.
YouTube's is dangerous with the algorithms of the shit you've already looked up.
And that's the
Get you
problem
Yeah.
sidetracked.
is it's just like it's like this ever accelerating feedback loop that you just your attention span turns into nothing because you'll see another
Yeah.
video that you really want to watch and then you
Yeah.
kind of drop the old one like a bad habit, just goes
Yeah.
downhill from there. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
water and definitely try to eat better. The wife's got me on more of a paleo slash carnivore diet, And
Nice.
so that seems to be working. We had eggs in purgatory for dinner tonight, which was good. It was basically just Italian sausage, eggs, and tomato sauce in the oven, so it's pretty good.
Nice.
But no, that's
Nice.
about it for Patriot stuff.
Nice. Are you
Nice.
As
drinking
far as what I'm
anything this
drinking,
evening
water.
after your rage into
Oh no, is it back on?
No, you're good. You're
No,
good.
no, you're good. But you didn't say
No,
what you were drinking.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
there.
just water.
Just water. Yeah, there
Just
we go.
water. Yeah.
And the speaker actually, as I was talking, it turned back on the AI noise reduction for the speaker, so I couldn't hear you guys for a second.
Oh,
Oh,
apparently,
Technology will be the death of
yeah.
us.
Check outside your windows. Do you see any black SUVs or white
SUVs.
panel vans? Yeah.
I don't hear any helicopters yet. So
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Blink twice and do this if you need help.
Yeah.
yeah,
Tell us how
uh,
much you love the government, and we will know that everything is okay.
give me the secret sign.
Yeah. I am drinking Coors Original this evening. Patriot Challenge. Yeah. Slacked off on some things a little bit, but I've been doing my reading consistently, which is good. I've on book number 4 for this year so far, and it's a long one.
Nice.
I am currently reading The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, The Global War on Democracy and Public Health by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Isn't it
And
fascinating how he hasn't been sued for libel over that?
Yeah, it is
yeah, how is it?
I mean,
Enraging?
it's super dry. Like this is more dry than like Gulag Archipelago or anything like the Communist Manifesto, but it is the most rage-inducing but interesting book I have read, and it like just it's nonstop infuriation the entire drive to work and the entire drive home, where you're just like, I can't believe they did this.
Okay, so
I think you should just
I
relax, take some ACT, call it a day, right?
Yeah.
so I absolutely love the author of the book, but I need to know, is he reading the book?
No, thankfully he is not. He has
Okay, because that would be a big
yeah,
deterrent of wanting to listen to the book.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe get Kim.
It's
Wait,
worse than Peterson. Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say you could get Kim Carnes to do it and be similar, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like he's fantastic. I love everything he's doing. I love what is coming. But yeah, like listen to
highly
long form
suggest,
interviews.
People that want to know what really went on should read the book. There's an audio book you can do it. There's also hard copy that you can get off of Amazon. I picked up one just to have one in my collection because you never know with the way things go these days, what books may or may not get pulled. And so now I physically have one in my collection. But on to the news. And the most important thing that people have been talking about for quite a while now. That's right, everybody. Tim Hortons brings back the cups for Roll Up the Win Roll Up the Rim to Win contest. This is something everyone has been complaining about for quite a while now, but they are back.
So did they not have it last year?
Nope, you had to use the app.
Oh, okay. So like I haven't drank Tim Hortons until they let their patent expire and McDonald's picked it up, because I have Tim Hortons coffee now and it turns my stomach. Can't do it. Doesn't taste the same.
Well,
but I also hate going to McDonald's because you stand in line for 2 hours, literally just get a coffee. So I just make coffee at home. But I did not know that they didn't actually have the roll up, and it was
no. Everyone was complaining about it for a while, but they are back just in time for the Roll Up the Rim to Win contest starting on the 24th. So everyone can stop panicking now.
Yep. Who gives a fuck about the tariffs now?
Yeah,
we got a rim back.
It show's over. We're done. That's just kidding. We're going to talk about tariffs.
Yes.
I mean, I guess for those that are, I'll start here in case the chat starts to spurg out, but like they've been suspended. We know this already. It happened not that long ago, but we're gonna proceed at least for the next little bit as the show was going to be without knowing that little tidbit, just so we can see the progression and talk about the ridiculousness of it all, and then we can talk about, now that it's suspended, about what's going to happen. But we'll start with the first one here, where good old Dougie here, who's up for re-election shortly because he called a snap election. He's ending a contract with Starlink over the
Yep.
tariffs.
Yeah, so I think we talked about that in the chat, but I mean, doesn't this kind of fly in the face of his campaign promises last time he's getting elected about internet access for the indigenous communities and wasteful spending and a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, this is a $100 million Canadian dollar contract
Yeah, which
to
is like $20 American.
yeah, that's straight
Yeah.
now. Anyways, yeah, to provide internet services to underserviced and unserved communities and
Communities.
businesses and stuff like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I,
So
I don't understand why the Ontario government is pumping in $100 million. You live somewhere where they don't have Bell, Eastlink, Rogers, TELUS, all those service providers. Starlink has always been an option. Yes, yes, there's a bit of a cost where you need to give them $500-$600 to get the hardware.
well,
You
even
tell
then,
them
like
roughly where you live, but I'm like,
Costco has had those like the dishes on sale frequently for like $100 or something like
right?
that. So
So
like
like
it's
I mean, I could get that like $500 can be expensive depending where you live,
Yeah.
especially nowadays, right? But like you could have bought saying this is where I live, which you have to tell Eastlink or not, sorry, Eastlink, Starlink, so they have the geographics of if you decide to travel all over the country, you got to pay extra for it, which I guess doesn't really make sense, but makes sense. Like their sandbox, their rules. But you buy the software, you set it up, and then you pay so much a month, no different than Bell, Rogers, Eastlink, TELUS,
Yeah.
like whatever internet provider you have, right? Sometimes you got to pay to get someone here to set it up and this, that. I don't understand why the province is spending $100 million to benefit anything. This
well,
is
but I mean
available
there are
worldwide.
15,000 eligible homes and businesses that they could sort out for this.
Okay, so let's do the math at $100 million
I know.
divided by 15,000.
Yeah.
How much is that internet setup cost?
Yeah,
For those
exactly,
50
right?
Are you saying the government doesn't do things efficiently?
I mean, yes. I
Well,
don't want to put
unicorn
I don't want
have
to
a
put
horn?
too fine of a point on it, but yes. Absolutely.
but
right?
but
So
again, like it boils down to vote buying, right? So like, yeah, I get they can get their own dish, but why would they get their own dish if they can like vote for a
Yeah.
party that's going to give them free shit, which is exactly
but-
how
but
vote
The
buying works.
conservatives work? Weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, air quotes on conservatives. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out $100 million. What infrastructure is going in? There's
Yeah.
no infrastructure. Starlink has nothing to do. If you've got
Yeah, we just
something
need to
to
buy some
power.
dishes and mail it to them and they plug it in and it works. Like
Yeah, like so you already got to pay for the fucking hydro to power the dish,
wow.
and then that goes through all the things. So like the 100 million, 15,000 seems very extreme. I don't know. It can be an expensive startup cost. If they're not on sale, it could be like $600, $700, $800 to
But-
get all the software to do it. And yes, you get reliable this, that. So are we giving kickbacks of like, hey, you can buy it for 300 instead of 800? And that 100 million is going towards to offset that $500 cost of everything. Like, fine, we can agree and disagree whether that's good spending on tax dollars. You want something, work hard and pay for it yourself is my
Yeah.
stance on it. So like, can my tax dollars not go towards that? But it seems like
Yeah.
a very high price dollar compared
Yeah,
to
for
low
how many people are going to get this?
Yeah.
Yes, it does seem
Or
awfully high.
benefit.
But
Yeah.
I'm a big fan here of Elon's response. Apparently on X, he responded with, "Oh well."
Yeah. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
talking like even if every person in Ontario was signed up to this thing, that's 4 million people, something like that, out of 8
Yeah.
billion in the world, and it is a worldwide global,
Yeah.
internet
it's-
system. So I mean, it's gonna be a very, barely a blip on his radar. Now I'm assuming they're the same people
Yeah.
that want to basically be paid to vote a certain way by getting free internet, or probably going to want somebody else to install it as well. So that may be where part of the cost come, because you got to ship some guy up north to do all the
Yeah.
installation work too. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
so I mean, Ford is also here saying that, like, yeah, there might be some retaliation, like breach of contract stuff or whatever, but he believes that the province has a very good case should Starlink attempt to challenge the move in court.
is he going to change
But
his
I
is he going
I
to
I
change his
have
mind now over the tariffs? Because
yeah,
now the tariffs are back off.
but he is willing for the province to pay a penalty. It's the principle.
And somebody
Fuck
else's
right off.
and somebody
and
else's money, so he has no problem
Like,
spending it.
yeah.
yeah, and
Like,
I'm not
this is
saying I go ahead, Gavin.
This is the
Sorry.
thing that like infuriates me about this whole tariff thing and our response to all of this.
It seems they have no problem opening up the purse strings and spending money on all kinds of shit,
Yep.
except for the thing that is going to benefit us
Canadian.
and the US, which is increase border security, which is what we have been asked to do.
Yeah. So
Like, oh, what's the penalty going to be? Like, even if they're talking, what is it? 100,
Let-
100 million, even if we pay 10% as a
That's 10
penalty,
that's
$10
$10
million
million.
dollars could
So-
hire a shit ton of people at the border.
yeah, and that 10 million would go absolutely nowhere
Yeah.
to benefit anybody. So
Yeah.
it's like that's the thing. Like,
Or we might
I
even
don't.
be able to buy another Blackhawk. I hear there's one that's on sale for cheap right now. Like,
Yeah,
Parts
I mean-
only, yeah.
Repairs needed, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like I mean, from every podcast, everything I've heard about
Ugh.
Elon, I have a feeling that guy's willing to lose 10% of everything he was supposed to make
Yes.
doing this to take someone to court and prove that that person fucked up.
Yeah,
Right?
he's the
So,
kind of guy
but-
that seems to be vindictive and will spend
Yeah,
more money to go after things than he gets back
But-
out of it just to prove his point, because as Ford says, it's the principle.
Yeah, it's the principle. But the whole thing I have with that is he will use that, whether it be with his own money or funds from all his companies and this, that, and
Yeah.
he's using this and that and everything to do whatever. But the problem with that is if the Ontario government decides to pursue this in court and everything, and then so we're going to spend how many millions of dollars paying for lawyers. So we broke the contract. We're going to spend millions in taxpayer dollars to fight it, to
Yeah.
potentially lose, and then still have to give
Yeah.
tax dollars that you and me and Ian, well, technically not Ian, but still,
Oh,
don't
I'm sure
get
there's a
to-
federal subsidy in here somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
But we still have that option where I'm just like, well, that should go for a vote, and it should be like, hey guys, we said we were going to do this, but due to this, it's going to cost more, or it's going to cost less. This, that, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, why are we making shitty deals that we can't follow through on, and we're going to fucking yank the chain on the stupidest things in the fucking world, and then not get the product we were looking for, and probably end up paying roughly the same.
Kind of like
Not
what
get the
we've done for many, many years with the CF-18s.
And helicopters and so on and so on.
Yeah,
Helicopters.
and submarines and tanks and
And tanks and
all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of other stupid things that Ford has kind of said that he would do, for the LCBO, they are going to pull all of the American liquor as of February 4th. So tomorrow was supposed to be the deadline where all of the alcohol that is made in America is pulled from the shelves and can't be sold. So the biggest problem with this is
Yep.
if it's already on the shelf, the LCBO has already paid for it, meaning the American company, who, again, this is the other thing that drives me crazy about all this. We don't have a problem with America. We don't have a problem with American companies. And we shouldn't have a problem with Donald Trump, in my opinion. What we should have is a problem with our politicians that are doing stupid things that are only going to fuck us harder. And this is one
Yes.
of them. We have already paid for this alcohol.
Mhm.
Just like when all those people freaked out and like burned their Nike stuff or like
Right. Yeah.
chucked out their Yeti coolers. It's like those companies already have your money. Don't
Yeah.
spend more on it. So like if the LCBO is like, we're not going to bring in any more American alcohol,
Yep.
at least it would be a logical way to do this. But to say that we're going to just take all this shit off the shelves and not sell it when it's already been paid for, it's
Yeah.
the stupidest thing ever.
Well, I was
Yeah,
shitting
it's
on you
gonna be
guys on
like,
the chat there because I had that picture I sent you about the empty shelves. I thought that was
Yeah.
Ontario, but that was actually BC had already done it as of today, and it said buy Canadian instead. I'm like, yeah. So again, they've either dumped it out, put it in the back room, whatever. It's not going to be sold. It's not going to recoup their costs from it,
Yeah.
no.
and they've already spent the money, given it to corporations and everything else. It's like, how about you just let the market decide? If somebody doesn't want to buy it, they won't.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
somebody does, they will, and they'll get their money back. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't want to order anymore, that's fine. But this emotional Orwellian tear
But at
down the
least
poster
sell
type
what
of
you
thing,
got already.
yeah, it's so Orwellian the way they did that,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it's just virtue signaling on steroids with
Oh,
somebody else's money.
100%.
Yeah,
Like
it's
100%. It's a massive virtue signal. Like, and they're talking here like Jack Daniels whiskey, Bacardi rum, California wines, and all this were supposed to have been pulled, except that like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes down the road from me is a giant Bacardi plant.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, like, is that going to include Mexican beer that gets shipped through the states? Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna screw over the Mexicans, which we're having problems with the Americans too? Because obviously it gets imported to the states before it comes to Canada, because there is no land bridge
Yeah.
between Mexico and Canada. So yeah, it's just
but if they don't stop and open up the truck, does it still qualify?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, because no, there has to be an American importer and an American exporter too.
Yeah. Th-
Allegedly.
This is the most ridiculous way to go after this ever. Like,
Yeah, like unless that's getting sent back and we're getting exactly what we paid for, plus truck and freight, labor.
I don't think they
you
do
know.
give backs or take
I,
backs.
Yeah.
I agree. That's probably not what's happening. But I'm just saying, like, right, fine. We bought Jack Daniels, for example, first one that comes to mind for US. We bought it at $40 a bottle. Cost so much to
Yeah.
get it up here. We're gonna ship it back. Cost
Yeah.
$5 to get it here, $5 to get it back. You give us back $50 a bottle.
Yeah.
No money lost, no money gained.
Maybe they were
break
going to
even.
give it all to that liberal politician that had like those ridiculous monthly bar bills. Just be like, here you go. Just
Yeah, just here's all the American shit that we're not gonna fucking sell anyways.
it'll
Now
probably
you
be
can't.
cheaper.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be probably cheaper than you going out and
Like
paying whatever ridiculous amount that was.
it makes no sense to yank it off the shelf. Let it be on the shelf and like put something,
Yeah.
just being like, this is
Exactly, right?
it until something gets solved. Like,
can you imagine like the restaurants and stuff that have to buy from it? So like they've already done their orders like 2 weeks ago for whatever, right?
Yep.
Because business was normal. And then now all of a sudden they've got the stuff where they're going to just go, you know what? We're not going to serve any more Jack and Cokes at our drinking establishment until this is settled. Sure, we're sitting on a couple of cases of that stuff, but I mean, the bar business is so profitable that we can afford to just sit on inventory for, potentially days, weeks, months, years. Like,
Yeah, and again, now that they've changed their mind and dropped the tariffs for another month, anyways, are they
yeah.
going to put that all back on the shelves? Are they going to change their mind? Are they going to,
Well, I
it
mean,
just
it sounds like it. I mean, at least in terms of like on the federal side and on the Ontario side, they've said that these things will only be in effect as long as the tariffs are in effect. So as the tariffs have been suspended, I'm assuming that means then like, yeah, I mean, thankfully Ontario at least got the warning that, everything's on pause before they pulled everything. But yeah, hopefully BC starts putting shit back on the shelf, like it magically
so
reappears from the stock room and the shop like the shelves are all full tomorrow.
so the whole issue I also have with this is like, why is my government dictating what I decide to pay for? So if there's a 20% tariff or
Yeah.
25% tariff on a product that is imported, I understand the company wanted to take less risk in ordering less. But if I really like JD
Yeah.
and I'm willing because government's not going to absorb, companies not going to absorb
Yeah.
tariffs, right? That is going to come on the consumer side. So
Yeah.
if I am willing to pay what a 60 used to cost for a 26-ounce bottle, that's on me.
Yeah.
That should still be available. Fine, make it a specialty order thing, or go to your local place and just be like, hey, I'll buy the case once a month, right? Like six,
I
seven
mean,
bottles. I'll
like-
order whatever you guys can ship here directly. I am willing to absorb the cost. Give me a price, and it's going to be outrageous according to anybody else that decides to do whatever. But if I want to decide to support the product, that should be on me. So it should still be available 100% for anybody and everybody that wants to. And fine, yes, I don't disagree that the extra cost should not go on the company. It should go to the consumer, where it's just like, hey, there's a tariff. So now, that
But
$20
ultimately,
bottle
like
went up to 25 due to tariffs.
the
Okay,
weirdest thing though is that like, where do those tariffs go? To the government, because they're the ones that are collecting the tax. So it is weird that the government is like stopping itself from making money for once. It's like the weird, like,
Yeah,
did they not
same-
stop and think?
The same government that lost money selling weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
again, like, we've
We're
already
not gonna go
established that
there.
the government is not efficient and maybe doesn't have the best business sense.
Yeah, but
And the thing is, like, what do they do? Like, so they get the tariffs and they get all this money into general revenue. It's not like they spend it on specialty offsetting the business losses fund or anything else.
No.
It just
Yeah.
goes to random, pet projects they might have, whether it be rainbow sidewalks or whatever. Like, there's just no rhyme or reason to the tariff money. It's not like it's like paying down the debt or doing something
Yeah.
good.
yeah, and find me a government that would round down to the penny, right? Like say it came up to something odd number. Government would obviously round up. So let's say they make 0.5 of a cent off every bottle of JD that is sold in just the province of Ontario. Why am I the only one that thinks that would be a stupid amount of fucking money after 2 months?
Yeah.
Right? At 0.5 of a cent of every bottle sold, company breaks even, tariffs get paid, and government makes 0.5 of a cent every bottle. I do have a feeling that we would probably balance the budget way better. Just doing that and just being like, we're not screwing you, but because it's fraction, round up. That's simple math. That's how everybody gets taught, right? We're not screwing you over for $1. We're just rounding up, right? We get 4 cents for every bottle that gets sold as a 100% profit. And everything still breaks even. It's the same price minus the tariff. It went up 25%, whatever, right? We make 0.4 cents for every bottle sold. I have a feeling almost anybody that buys a product that they want to support, knowing that the cost has gone up, is not going to complain about 4 cents per purchase.
Wow.
And it is going to help the economy at the end of the day, right? Because their 4 cents times how many people buy a bottle of JD a day, a month, or American
people
whiskey,
are
American anything.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, but we're
I guess-
retarded.
Yeah. So we're allowed to use that word now. Trump did a executive order and everything that said we're allowed.
Whether we're not, you can come
Yeah.
after me, not the podcast. I'm good with it.
It is merely the French word for slow. That's all
Yeah.
it is. Or retard. Nah.
Yeah.
J'ai une barbe, je comprends pas complètement.
Ouais.
C'est pas mon problème. Si c'est en français, on n'aura pas de problème, là. Mais, c'est
Exactly. See, we're bilingual.
Mhm.
It's a conservative approach to virtue signaling and all of the things. Poliver pivots focus to reducing provincial barriers as a way to deal with trade wars.
I'm gonna step on my own toes here. I didn't realize that there was still actually like that we didn't have like a free trade zone between provinces. I remember like he still couldn't drive booze between provinces because of some arcane law, but I am shocked that we actually had some sort of tariffs between provinces to begin with.
Yeah. Well,
Right,
I guess
but Orange Man bad for tariffs.
Yeah,
Province
like-
wise, it's Canadian, It's an igloo thing.
So
The
how
igloo.
is it that like Quebec maple syrup charges us some sort of extra tax to be sold in BC or something? Is that how this works?
Well, I mean, you
Bro,
see,
you
the
want to
maple
talk?
syrup cartel, which I mean, if we're gonna like make all cartels terrorist organizations, does this account for the dairy cartel, the maple syrup cartel, and all the other like
Right, like
boards like that?
we want to talk about talking about crazy shit and why 90% of civilization anywhere except Canada does not take us seriously. Documentary on Netflix, Dirty Money, talks about the stock trades, um, how they scammed houses in the U.S. These giant things, gold schemes, diamond schemes, everything. And they've got one episode on that show that talks about Canada, and it's about a bunch of fucking people in the Montreal market that stole maple syrup and filled these 55-gallon drums with water. And the only reason the investigators figured anything out is because these drums with water in them started rusting through and they left rust rings on the ground. It's like nobody takes us seriously because our biggest scheme in this country is someone
Aside
took a
from
bunch of maple
government,
syrup.
aside from government.
Yeah,
Yeah,
government
well,
is the
nobody wants
best.
to.
Yeah, kickbacks alone,
Yeah.
like from
Yeah,
Ukraine,
but
I'm
we
sure,
don't
massive.
we don't talk
But
about that.
but the government also did set up the maple syrup mafia.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
right.
did. They
So
made a
like,
movie about that with
Yeah,
the maple syrup
oh
theft, didn't they?
fuck,
yeah.
that was a fucking hilarious fucking movie. But like, right? So like, nobody takes us seriously as a country because
We're not a serious
they're
country. Yeah.
they're all deep diving into like Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like that movie was based on a
Yeah.
true story. Cartels, this, that, Ponzi schemes, this, that. And the best thing they could put on that show to reflect Canada was like, hey, we control maple syrup here. And we ended up with like 10,000 barrels of maple syrup. So we couldn't sell it. So we sat in a warehouse. And then someone figured out how to take a bunch of barrels, but fill them up with water. And they figured it out because the water rushed through the thing. And yeah, like nobody takes it seriously after that. So
Yeah.
how about we figure that out before we start talking about trade wars?
Yeah. But I mean, Poliver's proposal here has 4 key parts, right?
Mm.
Because that's as high as the average Canadian can count. He's going to hold a meeting with Canada's premiers within 30 days of becoming prime minister to discuss removing trade barriers. It's going to work on developing a national standard for trucking rules to encourage east-west shipping over north-south shipping. Hopefully, we will actually have any standards whatsoever and stop with this whole like one guy owns a school and his 12 cousins all get licenses under the same name. He's also going to create a professional qualification recognized in all provinces that would allow doctors, nurses, and engineers to work anywhere in the country. Why can't they already?
Yeah.
Like, so why is that a thing? And why is it only focusing on that? Are those the only jobs that have a barrier like this?
Well, interestingly enough, I guess the states is the same way, right? Like, lawyers can only, exercise or practice law in certain states. Same thing with doctors, I guess. And so I guess it's kind of similar to us, but I still don't know why. I mean, yeah, there's probably differences, but a differences course alone should probably be good enough when you move somewhere. You shouldn't have to get recertified.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I could understand like, okay, I live in Ontario. I need to be part of the Ontario Doctors Board, but it should just simply be a membership fee or whatever it is. Like you go, like I'm going to practice medicine in this province. I would like to apply to your club of exclusive doctors. And they go, okay, can I see where you graduated from? And you go, here's my papers. And they go, okay, great. You're part of the club.
Right. So I agree.
You move the same. Like,
so I'll kick back to my previous work, apprenticeship licensing for automotive. So if you got anything above a 60, you were licensed, depending where you went. If you got an 80 or above, you got a Red Seal mechanics license.
Yeah.
That allows you to go across Canada, except for Quebec, because Quebec is Quebec. But if I got a 79%, me living in Ontario, I would technically only have a license in Ontario, and moving to any other province other than Quebec, I would have to challenge tests, do this, do that, or whatever. So as long as I got 80%, it's called a Red Seal Journeyman, right?
Yeah.
It goes for plumbing, electrical, framing,
Yeah.
roof, whatever you can get a Red Seal in. If you got above a certain percentage, you got a Red Seal that allows you to work across Canada. How is that not the same for doctors, nurses, this, that?
Well, and that's so that's a little ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying that people that do
Yeah.
achieve a higher mark shouldn't get something extra, but where you work shouldn't be part of that. Like,
so that all depends, because understanding the curriculum of where you live and
yes, I mean, the type
Ontario.
of things that you would fix here versus Alberta versus BC are going to
may
be
different, and how
But-
the legislation of annual safeties,
Sure, but like,
safety.
if you can turn a wrench, you can turn a wrench.
Yes, but that now you're implying that anybody that can turn a wrench can have a license, right?
No.
Like, there's that fine line
but-
where it's just like you need to
Yes,
hit
but-
a certain criteria to be eligible across the country.
Sure.
So
But I
every
mean, I
province
can-
is different.
Tomorrow, I can decide to go buy a property in any other part of the country and just move there.
But being a citizen is different than upholding a license to do a certain thing.
But
But
this
why
is
is
the thing.
free healthcare that's a federal right for everybody? Why is it provincially regulated? I guess that's where we're kind of going
Yeah.
with that.
Like, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't necessarily
That's
be
different.
provincial bodies that govern things, but one should be able to move from one to the other in their profession based on where they live at the time, so long as they meet the criteria. And the criteria should be you have the diploma or the training in whatever it is, and then you move. So I agree that, like, people that achieve high standards should be recognized for that. But if you go and you get like your 60% grade as a passing and you get your license, you should be able to work anywhere in the country. If you get your Red Seal, then that means that you should be able to either get a higher wage or some other perk to that.
Right.
To do that, as opposed to being restricted to, like, because the 60% mechanic in Ontario, I don't think is any better or worse than the 60% mechanic in Quebec and Alberta and Manitoba and
Right.
BC.
So they have set a standard by saying you need to achieve this to be nationwide.
Yeah, but I think that's a bit of a ridiculous standard.
I
It's an
don't disagree. So,
arbitrary
like,
standard. Yeah.
But that's why I was a little
Right,
surprised,
so-
because I mean I'm federally regulated with my job in transportation, and my license is good nationwide. So it doesn't matter where I work. Just the same license will apply.
So-
That's why I was really surprised that he was even talking about this, because I had no idea this was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I can work anywhere.
So technically
Yeah.
speaking, as it is right now, going back to trades, you got your Red Seal in the trade you do, transportation, right? So I had an ex that licensed paramedic in Ontario, moved to Newfoundland, and 100% licensed, could get a job anywhere in this province. Didn't want to work anywhere near where she lived. She moved out to Newfoundland, drove her out there. While we were going up there, I'm going through all the fucking cue cards with bullshit, because there's kind of differences in protocols of what they do, this, that. So I'm fucking troubleshooting and asking questions while we're driving up there prior to me and Mel meeting up. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of get that. Like, you've got a different protocol. You need to understand that, like, I don't care how you did it there. When you get here, you do step 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter if where you came from, you did step 2, 3, and then 1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do
I
we
think
do
it's
we
just
just
a weird.
do we just nationalize that you want to be a paramedic? You get
Yes.
the exact same training across every province. I
Yes.
don't disagree with that. Same with mechanics, transportation, what you do for a living, Ian, what you do for a living, Gavin, what I do
We
for a
should just-
living, turning around. Have it
Yeah.
straight across the board. I don't disagree. But
And-
until the exact same protocols,
Well,
training,
yeah, we need to standardize
information.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, but I mean,
But
I think
what
that's more of a function of like we need to make sure that the schools that are teaching whatever it is are up to snuff rather than the students per se. Because if the schools are up to snuff, then the students that go through that and pass and achieve the
Right. So,
appropriate mark to pass will be
yeah.
fine. But
But is that
Right.
really
So,
going to increase our internal economy just by getting rid of
no.
those supposed
I
barriers?
don't think there's that many people that are in the
I
medical
know.
professionals
That's what.
that are moving province to province that are having issues
so,
with this.
so that all depends. So some people will travel to different provinces to get the education for
Yeah,
cheaper and then go back to their home province and challenge the test
but I
because
mean, so
they've
I have a buddy of
saved
mine
they,
that it went and did med school outside of the country,
yeah,
and so
and then
came
came back and
home.
challenged the test
No,
and they
all he
saved thousands.
basically had to do was like they accepted his schooling at face value and said, okay, well, you went, you took the course in a country where their standards are more or less the same, so we'll take your education at par. We'll trust that you graduated and did all those things, but it was a return of service. So when he came back, there was a chance that he might have to live in an underserviced community for a number of years to do that. And
Right.
so he went and did that. And he was fortunate enough that he ended up moving to Vancouver, even though he's originally from Ontario. And there was no return of service necessary because I guess they deemed that his specialization was, they needed them in Vancouver too. So he was fine to go and live in Vancouver and do all of
Was
that.
it for all those things?
Well, so he's an anesthesiologist.
Huh.
So they
Well,
determined that he didn't have to do
they
any of
shoot up
that.
enough up there. They shoot
Yeah.
enough up
So like he
there
went
that they
and
do
did
it
that,
themselves.
and like it's fine, but it just seems to me that it's a little ridiculous that like he could go off to to Australia, get his education, be working there for a number of years and everything, and then come back here and go work in Vancouver just fine and all that. But now if he wants to move from Vancouver because he's working there as a doctor to move back to Ontario, that he might need to do something like that just seems absolutely fucking ridiculous to me.
But
But
100%.
again, I still don't understand how, like, getting rid of those barriers, whatever they may be, it doesn't matter what they are.
Yeah.
But how is that going to offset, hundreds of billions of dollars of financial penalties from the states
Yeah, the
as
brain
a
drain of like
solution?
everyone going to the US to
It
work
makes
versus here is going to be far more detrimental than I can't work in Ontario because like
that just sounds like a
Yeah.
hooray for Canada thing, and it's just like a
yeah.
feel good measure. It has nothing to do with an
Well,
actual
actually, and
financial
like they're
solution.
going to offer some free trade bonus to provinces who drop trade barriers.
Okay, or just stop
So
trying to
that
arrest me when I take my BC Boost to Ontario or whatever, right?
Well,
yeah,
exactly, right? Like,
like
and so what we're gonna instead of having these barriers in place that cost money or prevent something, the government is now going to subsidize this, so our taxes are going to go up to like that's not going to help either.
no, that's not gonna help me because I disagree with how the standards are right now. The doctor that gets 61% is technically still called a doctor compared to the guy that got 99%. But I
Well, I
feel
mean,
I
you
should be
say
able
you
to
build
choose.
1,000 bridges.
Yeah, and yeah, you right. I'm not gonna go there because we're live and it has something to do with penises and people. But you know, I want to find the most qualified person, so I should be the person that decides that. I go see this person, I read reviews. Find reviews can be temperamental because you'll get way more shitty reviews because people don't think we'll use for example, doctor didn't believe what they said, even though nothing of it was true. But you'll only get 1 out of 10 people that doctor did help. Actually take the time and put a review. But I feel I have this, and that doctor didn't say something, so the doctor gets 20 bad reviews of people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, compared to 5 people out of the 20 that he has actually helped in that standard. So if we make just a general standard for anything, it's well worth it in comparison to any deviation in standard for anything else.
Well, so in 2019, the
Mm.
IMF, if you can trust them, decided that there are 4 categories of trade barriers in Canada. Natural barriers such as geography. It's hard to move things over the mountain or across the bay, right? Prohibitive barriers such as restrictions on the sale of alcohol. Weird, we
That
mentioned
again
one.
leads to government.
Technical barriers such as vehicle weight standards. So I guess province to province, there are issues with how much vehicles weigh. And then the
Because of
last
shitty
one,
roads.
yeah. Regulatory barriers such as licensing and paperwork requirements, which is what we've been complaining about just now.
Yeah, no, and again though, like it's not going to fix the economy. I mean, it should have been done
No.
years ago, but it's just not going to fix anything
It's
financially.
something that needs to get fixed. But yes, I don't think that is going to like, oh my God, all of a sudden Canada is 100% self-reliant because
And we're wealthy now. Oh, look at
yeah,
that.
because mechanics and doctors don't need to get
Yeah.
recertified if they decide to move.
And we can
Like
do
that-
liquor wars in Alberta and drive it across to Ontario without being in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's fucking ridiculous. All right. The next one here. What are the things that we are targeting, or we were planning to target anyway? So that, in a month from now, when this is still a thing, we'll know what to stock up on or not. So the products that we've targeted of American products coming in: poultry products, dairy products, spices, seasoning, fruits, vegetables, coffee, tea, grain products, cooking oil, shrimp and prawns, confectionery products, flour, sugar, honey, syrup, cocoa products, pasta, prepared bakery products, including pizzas, pies, cakes, and other pastries, orange juice, fuck you, Florida, nuts and beans, condiments, including mustard, ketchup, and other tomato sauces, mayonnaise, and salad dressing.
Who isn't buying ketchup that's not already made in Canada?
yeah,
I guess we shut down that one plant, but
soup, bottled water, alcohol, tobacco, cigarette lighters, and vapes.
So we can still get the cigarettes, just not the lighter.
Well, I think the
Zippos for
cigarettes
you.
is under the tobacco as a general rule, but yeah, cigarette like your Bic lighter. We're gonna put a fucking tariff on Bic lighters. Like, oh, that's gonna really fucking save the day. Cosmetics,
I get about 30 of
toiletries,
them in a box. I'm good
Pro-
for a little bit.
protein powder. So fuck all you weightlifters.
Yeah.
That's not allowed. Plastic building materials, bathroom appliances and accessories. So bathtubs, toilet seats, showers, sinks, suitcases, handbags, and other bags.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kitchen and glassware, forks, spoons, knives, cups, tires, horse saddles, and accessories, because we are buying a bajillion dollars in horse saddles and accessories from the States. Clothing items, coach jackets, suits, shirts, skirts, pants, shorts, dresses, underwear, bras, pajamas, baby wear, sports clothing, socks, scarves, gloves, and belts.
So what the fuck do we produce in our own goddamn fucking country?
Almost nothing.
Well, not lumber and wood products, not paper and cardboard, for postcards, boxes, bags, food packaging, plates and cups, tablecloths, napkins, handkerchiefs, and other facial tissue, notebooks, binders, folders, curtains, carpets, and other textile floor coloring, blankets, linens, and other bedding, camping and other outdoor equipment, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to skip over a bunch here. Hats, including safety gear, shoes, sandals, cleats, rubber boots, and other waterproof footwear, including ski boots. Motorcycles, drones, guns and ammunition,
Yeah.
furniture and mattresses, lights, lamps, Christmas lights and light fixtures, arcade games, casino slots, and playing cards, and art.
Well, fuck the art part. But
Well, I'm going to pay more for my Hunter Biden painting.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
unacceptable. Yeah.
So those are the items that we are currently targeting, or we're targeting, I guess, until the pause.
So it sounds like we're getting carrots.
Yeah. where's the so we slapped a 25% on those and
We
a
did with
10% tariff on Canadian energy. Oh no, sorry, that was the US side of it. Canada, we put a 25% tariff on those things that I just listed and a few others for approximately $30 billion worth of American goods coming into Canada.
Right. So we're still going to sell them
Yeah.
a bunch at
Yeah.
enough cost of a certain amount of tariff and then buy it back
It's
with
okay.
the
No,
exact same account of
in
tariffs.
3 weeks, if that didn't bring the US to its knees, we were going to slap tariffs on another $125 billion worth of American imports.
And they'd be like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sees 85% of our exports go south and 16% of their exports go north. It's a bit of a losing battle to start with.
Yeah.
Depends who you ask. If you think the budget will balance itself, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
But most people that listen to this show don't agree with the budget balancing itself. That is, you do need to cut costs at a certain point where I'm like, so someone needed to have a conversation with someone and they decided not to, and that person decided to put his fucking big boy pants on and be like, fine, time to pay up, motherfucker. And we should have had a conversation just being like, hey, look, fine, we may benefit a little bit more. We have wiggle room.
Yeah.
Let's agree to some things and let's negotiate on other things. Where we could have probably brought this down compared to everything coming out, compared to things that most people would have been okay with, whether it be the alcohol coming in, certain clothing, certain whatever the fuck you want to call it. But nobody in this country had the fucking cojones to go have a conversation. Fine, whether you like the Orange Man or not, that's beside the point at this point. It's just like, hey, we're gonna do this to your country. Like, fine, I can agree to disagree, but let's have a conversation and let's bring to the table what I think my country needs to benefit from and what your country needs to benefit from. And there needs to be negotiations and wiggle room on both sides for us to agree on where we're willing to take our constituents, money and tariffs and extra fees. And you need to do the same on yours, where we come to an agreement of it benefits both countries' economy in general.
So here's some interesting stats to maybe put some things in perspective for people. The economy of Canada, the world's 9th largest as of 2024, has a nominal GDP of approximately $2.1 trillion US dollars. Not bad. The economy of Texas, $2.6 trillion as of 2023. And that's not even the largest economy in the US. So while we are 9th in the world, there seems to be some giant gaps between where we are and everyone else. So to be fair, Texas is the second largest economy in the States. California is the biggest.
It's because you know how much they pay in taxes.
Well, yeah, but let me pull up what California is, just so that we can compare. California economy. Let's see. So GSP is 4 trillion for California, the largest economy. There is a comparable number here.
And the same amount of people as Canada, pretty much.
Yeah. So GDP per capita, 104. No, where's the other number? There it is. Revenue, 195 billion. No, I need comparable numbers here. I don't know. It's giving me different things, and I'm too lazy to find a comparable number. But yeah.
It's obviously bigger than Texas.
Yes. absolutely bigger.
Per
Oh,
capita
wait.
is also bigger. So
3 million, so I don't know, bigger than Texas. So even if it's only slightly bigger, that between those two states, it's double what Canada is. And then throw in the other 50 states or 48 states.
And yeah, that's why I think we like they're a little delulu if they think they're gonna like make some sort of a big, dent or anything else. Like America, it's not even making American news down there, right? Like when I was
no,
down in the States a couple days ago,
Yeah.
it wasn't even newsworthy. It was a nothing burger, literally.
no, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few
It
American
was not
friends of
even on the
mine
back
kind of
burger.
joke about this.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I-
because like it's like your hillbilly cousin getting upset over something. It's like you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever, like cool.
But if
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
yeah, in the States, they're just joking about it. They're having a good time, and they're just like, "Yeah, this is
Yeah.
funny." Like, what is Canada going to do? Like,
Yeah, we're gonna
well, I'll
be
tell
gay
you,
North Dakota.
yeah, I'll tell
That's
you
what
one
it is.
thing, one more thing that Canada plans to do, at least Quebec plans to do.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we are not going to just tariff goods. We are going to tariff government contracts to American companies that want to fulfill those government contracts.
Except for stuff they actually need, which is like,
What? Everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Like Quebec should just shut its fucking hole at this point. Like that province has done absolutely nothing to fucking move Canada forward. It's done absolutely nothing for anything. Any American company that wants to move into that fucking province.
Well,
For example, I work for a fucking big incorporation that is US based, and the biggest fucking headache they have ever dealt with is the Quebec fucking market because
yeah.
they have language laws. So
Not even just the language laws. It's just the different, like the French common law laws versus
yeah,
like
but
the rest of the country that works on English common law makes a whole other
but
like
so they have the language law. So it's an American based company. Everything is in English. So now
Yeah,
we have to
and
translate
Spanish.
everything. Yeah, but we have to translate everything in French.
Yeah.
And then any sign that wants to go up has to be translated in French. And the French has to be
Twice the
the
size.
size of
Yeah.
English.
Oh, I know.
in a
It's
certain
I mean, I have
order.
an office,
And-
in Montreal, so it's the same. Like
Yeah,
we had to get
and-
the name of our company translated into French, which even
Which
then
doesn't make sense.
for certain companies, they don't
Does
have to do it.
No, because there's no actual translation, right?
Well, yeah.
So all these things where I'm just like, these fucking companies need to be like, oh, you want to do that? You don't get to do a thing. I have 22 stores that are in that fucking province. And I 100% wish they would yank every fucking one of them for all the stupidity we have to deal with. Because if the province wants what the company I work for offers, we will be there. You need to change these things. Consumers will change that, or someone else will take the market. Let someone else take the market because it's too much of a fucking headache. You have an office out there. How much money, how much man hours, how much fucking headaches did you spend getting to any criteria to just open up an office? Not even ongoing.
Oh yeah, it's
almost not worth it.
It's a real nuisance to do anything out there. Like,
So, fine, that province wants to do fucking whatever. We're gonna do measures. Look what happened when they decided that fucking Amazon was gonna go unionize there. What did what did the company do? Said fine, fuck you. We're shutting every single fucking plant in your fucking province. We're shutting down what 22 businesses, 22
but like
facilities. Like what now? Sucks for all the people that work there. The economy, you're affecting people providing for their family, mortgage payments, people getting groceries, saving for their kids' schools. I hate all that, but also you want to be a fucking complete asshole. Well,
But I also
you're
don't
gonna
get
lose.
how you put a contract out for tender and then charge them a 25% tariff on that. Should you just pay them less money? Wouldn't that be like, we'll give you the contract, but whatever you come in at, we're going to take 25% off.
But even
how
then,
do you charge them money on a thing that they're doing? Like that's not how that works.
And not
No,
only that,
and
but like they're not going to volunteer to make a contract proposal anyway. Like nobody's going to put in answer
Yeah.
to RFP.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
Just,
find me a Quebec contractor that has done anything worth speaking about. That
yeah.
fine, you put a contract up. I mean, show me the fucking bridges in Quebec. How long does it take to uphold?
Yeah.
Show me that there's no corruption within contractor
Yeah.
bidding, this, that, and quality of work that comes out. How many years it takes? How long did it take to make the bridge? I've been going to that province for 6 years for the company I work for. You're still working on the same goddamn fucking bridge after 6 years.
So we need
Nothing's
this common road
changed.
standards between provinces then.
Right? Like tankers getting on fire, fucking burning oil for hours, and nothing fucking changes. So it's just complete retardation that they think any tariffs being like, well, we're gonna make it harder. And I was like, fine, bid higher, you're gonna lose it. Prove me the quality of work you can put through. That fine, you come in lower or you come in at the same price or without a tariff. If I'm a business looking for quality product and these are the criterias I've met, I may spend a little bit more, but if I'm going to get better quality, better warranty, and better product, money talks. Maybe not for government, but that's beside the point.
Well, thankfully, JT and the Orange Man have had multiple phone calls throughout the day and have reached a tentative agreement. So we will not have to pay the ridiculous tariffs and all of these things on our delicious rapeseed oil. That has been put on hold.
For now, at least.
I'll give them time to change the name again. So
Yeah, exactly, because
But
apparently that
also-
is not appropriate. But
also, why do I have a feeling that it's been multiple conversations just because Orange Man calls them and says, hey, you're a little bitch, and then hangs up on them?
that'd be it. Or he just hangs up in general, like, hello, this is Justin. Click.
yeah, the hang up
Yeah,
game.
like-
Yeah,
yeah, it's just like, you're a
that
bitch.
would be even better.
Click,
But
like,
it's all right.
whichever
because
one. That's the multiple conversations.
the Trudeau, the little potato himself, has released a
Excuse me.
statement on the Twitter, because that's how we make laws in this country.
100%.
And I'm going to read his post here. I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our 1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. They need to change the name of that, because that sounds
Yeah,
like the guy that's
100%.
selling fentanyl.
Yeah, that's
But yeah.
the head honcho. That's the kingpin.
Yeah, they will also list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-US joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I have also signed a new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl and will be backing it with 200 million. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work together. So this is all the shit that they were arguing about that they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Did anyone hear anything in that list that's something that doesn't benefit us in Canada?
Nope.
Imagine what they could have done with the 80 billion they sent to Ukraine instead of 1.3 at the border.
Not even that.
We don't talk about that.
Not even that.
That's the thing.
How much money have they wasted so far with all of these OICs and C21 and all of that? And like, how many letters have they mailed out to people informing them of the things that they may or may not own are now prohibited?
Allegedly.
So with the
Allegedly.
2.5 million gun owners, right, and a bunch of these rifles being non-restricted, they don't know who owns them. So they have physically mailed a letter at least twice to all of those people, right, for the two OICs at like $1 a piece. Like, not even counting the labor involved in like
that's just the postage
paying
stamp.
the person to do the work, but just like
that's just the stamp.
The paper that it's printed on, the ink that it's printed with, the envelope, the stamp, and physically, like, you know, mail, like,
we're at $2.
It's got to be $1 at least, if not
We're
more.
talk-
And
I would say
$2.5 million there, but like times two because we've done that twice.
Yeah.
How many people could
And
you
that's
hire
not
for
even-
$5 million?
And that's not even counting, like you said,
Yeah.
labor, because they're not
Right.
making $2 an hour.
Yeah.
They work for the government, right? So we're talking, how much is it for their salary, plus their benefits, plus their
And then
fucking this,
On
plus
top of
their
that,
fucking
and then
or,
all the
like,
throw in all the money
retirement and all.
that's been wasted on like consultations with different people to figure out the buyback. At like millions
much are
upon
we at now?
millions upon millions of dollars have been wasted. And where do we think all of those guns come from? Well, I mean, according to like our government, it's the people on this panel that, you know, are losing their guns or selling them illegally.
Allegedly.
But if you look at the
Allegedly.
actual statistics and talk to police officers, 95+% of those guns are smuggled in from the US. So the problem that they're trying to solve by coming after us legal gun owners could easily be solved by putting that money into
100%.
border security.
And I think they spent up to 600 billion already, which is half of what he just announced. So
Yeah.
he could have been halfway there already just if he just left us alone and actually focused on the border.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the only thing he has gained or anything from everything, which I hate to say, and I agree with business owners. Business owners are the only ones that have given in inventory that they have been sitting on since 2020 when this went through. Millions of dollars. This
Yeah.
whole buyback program. They opened it up for business. Business is sitting on $1 million of inventory for the last 5 years.
Yeah. And now they
Unable
want to
to
buy
claim-
that back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
So-
again
so-
could be money that's spent on the border.
So the company did what it should. They held off as long as they could, right? They didn't sell it off fucking 2 days after this happened. Like,
Yeah.
they sat on that millions of dollars of inventory and said,
Yeah.
government, take it, give me my money, right? They held off as long as they could. They didn't declare bankruptcy. It went wherever. I'll give it to them. I hate to say I agree with them just because government won in this scenario, but they did what they could, and you do you. You're talking business. I'm not talking about a $2,000 investment I decided to take, not an investment on a hope on return that I purchased. I decided to spend $2,000, and whether it's sitting upstairs or at the bottom of a lake due to a boating accident are two different things, but that's a decision I decide to make, not as a hope on return of investment. So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane. Like,
it's
come on. Like, this is, it just drives me crazy that, like, this is what we should have done all along. And now they've got this, like, this fake nationalism that, like, all these people are buying into. And they're like, oh, we're united as a country and all that. Like, no. Like,
no,
we
we're not
are.
united.
But
shit.
we are,
Like-
but for like the wrong fucking reasons because we're
Yeah.
channeling our anger towards the wrong thing. We should be channeling our anger at the people in charge because they're the ones that are making dumb choices. Now, thankfully, it seems like at the last minute, they have come to their senses and agreed to do the thing that benefits us both.
Yeah, but like I have a bigger issue that we should not be talking about what government or oh he's doing good. Like, why are we so dependent on the US for anything?
Well, because we've ran all of business, everything out of this country because
exactly,
of
right.
unfavorable tax things.
And that's the
decades.
conversation we should have, right? Like, I get Ontario is probably not the best place to grow avocados.
Yeah.
But we also got rid of our ability to sell our goods overseas via pipelines and other ports and everything else that we
Yeah.
intentionally scuppered.
Right.
So
So
Well,
that,
yes.
but like, we also have made it completely ridiculous for regular
Yeah.
people to grow asparagus, onions, this, that. We have made the tax laws so fucking completely retarded in this
Well, yeah.
country, province by province. You know,
some are slightly
across the
better than
board.
others, but as a whole,
but
yeah.
still way more unaffordable compared to like, hey, let's just import lemons from California, because all that trucking from California all the way to Canada is still cheaper than a guy that decides
Well,
in a place that's reasonable to grow lemons
Yeah,
to plant
but
lemon trees and grow lemons.
but not
So
even that. Like they've made it so that it is so impossible to do business in Ontario that like
like,
manufacturing of things like that could be literally done anywhere,
yeah,
right? So it's not like limited
I
by
could do it in my
geography.
backyard.
Yeah, have decided that it is so unfavorable to run a business in this province that they have either left the province or
Yep.
worse, as I know people that have done, left the country altogether. I mean, they were in the
Yep.
firearms industry, they were manufacturing firearms accessories and all of that
Yep.
in Canada
All the things.
and in a more favorable province for that. But even for that, it was just so unfavorable that they're like, you know what, fuck it, like we're gonna just take this business south of the
Yep.
border.
Yeah, and that's the thing where I'm like, nobody understands that. Where I'm like,
Huh.
oh, everybody's worried about these tariffs, and I was like, okay, but like we should have a more discussion of like why are we so reliant on another country to get anything, underwear,
Well,
socks,
we saw
food.
this during,
Like I get
during the pandemic
during the
at the beginning of
COVID,
it when we didn't know any better and
COVID.
we were trying to get like PPE. And we're like, oh my God, we don't make any of this in this country. We're relying on other countries to get our
Yeah,
PPE. And we didn't
and
learn the lesson. And how many years ago was that? 5 years ago? And it's taken us
yeah,
this long and we
and
still haven't figured it out.
and we're still right. Do you blame those countries at that point to be like, we're not sending you anything until we feel we are safe as a country to have proper PPE, whether you agree with it being a PPE thing or not, that you needed a mask, you needed gloves or whatever. But like those countries decided not to export any of their product until they felt comfortable that people that reside in the country that manufactures that are safe. And we are not doing that. We're sending fucking money galore in every fucking country, every conflict, virtue signaling for the most stupidest things in the world that does not affect me. All the money we have spent on the Ukraine Russia war.
Oh, yeah.
How is that? How has that benefited anything in Canada? What the fuck do we export, or they export, sorry, and we import that benefits the Canadian economy? During the whole war, Gavin, you were there. All those fancy flowers we had around the
Yeah.
wreath and everything, all that shit, Mel found on a website, those all came from Ukraine during the war. Guess
Yep.
what? Those motherfuckers still made fantastic looking things.
Yep.
Was Ukraine really a war zone when they can send us gorgeous bouquets, all the color criterias we wanted, the reds, the blacks, the blues, this, that? You know, yes, we spent $800, $900 or whatever. They were fake. We still have them. They still look fantastic. But I'm like, this was during the whole,
Well, I
oh
mean,
my
fuck,
God, this is the war.
you two went over there to have a concert, so you know, total war zone. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the money that we have sent doing other things could easily have been sent on this. I'm still not entirely sure what a fentanyl czar does.
Supplies Freeland with her fix.
With their fentanyl, yeah,
Yeah, bro. What?
like it's such a weird title to give something because all I think of is like, you know, the Tsar and Tsarina of Russia and all of that.
The
But
only thing of
it's a
Czar
fentanyl, so
is fucking Mel was watching this weird show, which was like, it was a 100% spoof of a real show where like they talked about this czar, but it was complete spoof show where like one person was an idiot and the girl was conspiring against them. I gotta ask her what it was and I'll let you guys know, but like it was the most stupidest fucking show. Like, yeah, czars are stupid. The second I hear czar, I think complete fucking retard.
well, like, and if there's gonna be like a fentanyl czar, is there also gonna be like a fentanyl Rasputin? And
Rastafarian
can I
is the
have
word
that
you're looking.
role? Can I be the fentanyl Rasputin?
Yeah. Well, as long as you learn how to dance twirly style and do the Russian kicky dance thing, it'll be
Obviously,
pretty awesome.
like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like those Cossack outfits
Do you
in the
already own
castle
the
are
hat?
pretty fucking stylish. Let's
Oh
be
yeah.
honest.
And
Do
you
you
got the beard
already
already for Rasputin.
Yeah.
So
Do you have the hat though? You have to have
You,
the hat.
I mean,
Yuzhanka.
no, but like I'll just bill that to the taxpayers and then I'll have the whole outfit. But
Okay.
yeah, if you know, if you've listened to the show this long, you definitely deserve a discount. So visit ragnaroktactical.ca, use the code Patriot at checkout for a little bit of a discount. No tariffs and saving money. Pierre, where can people find you and or your other half and purchase some tariff-free custom t-shirts?
Well, as it stands right now, due to our teachers coming from Canada, hopefully not tariffed. Off the wall customizing. Try it on the socialist medias, all of them if you're on them. I'm not. Mel is. We can make it anything and anything to the sweetest thing and the thing that'll make people's skin crawl. Or you can find me on Sunday nights, at least mostly, with potentially panelists from tonight on the other CPP Canadian Patriot podcast. Or no, Prepper. That one's the Prepper one. Tonight's the Patriot one.
Well,
Yeah, I've had a lot to drink.
it happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ian, where can people find you?
Well, we're not here talking about bad behavior of the government. We're talking about what to do about bad behavior about the government on the Canadian Prepper podcast, Sunday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. And you can email me direct at theoutretreat@gmail.com.
Awesome. You can find me on Instagram, HerbixGTA. You can also find me this Sunday doing the co-teaching thing with my buddy Boris from True North Tradecraft. He's got a thing doing his thing during most of the day. I believe this one is disaster preparedness. I can't remember which one was which, but disaster preparedness, I think it is, and then I'll be doing Stop the Bleed after that. It's fun time. There are still spaces available, so find his website. You can purchase your ticket to come and hang out and learn some really cool stuff and hang out with me. You may or may not get to eat instructor Phil. This is
Eat
little
or
chihuahua.
meat? Because those are
Meat,
two different
meat,
things.
meat. Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a lot of meat on instructor Phil as he is a chihuahua. We also, when he was staying with us for a brief moment of time, we nicknamed him Filipino. And when he was being a bit of a little shit, we would call him Philip. But he's a good little boy. He likes to wear his sweaters when he gets chilly. But you know, sign up, come and learn some things.
Which is all the time. It's
Yeah.
It's a Chihuahua.
Yeah, pretty much. We snuggled in the trailer one night. It was fun. We value your opinion. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com and let us know what you think. Apologies to Rod. He was going to be on today, but there was something about tariffs and how we would have to pay him an extra 25%, but then we were going to like counter tariff him. And we started our
messy.
own little trade war because of all of these weird like interprovincial regulations, and his license wasn't valid in Ontario, which we didn't know about until today. We're working on getting it all fixed. It's fine. Don't worry. It'll happen at some point soon. I promise. I'd also like to remind everyone that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable tariffs.